In this lesson, we'll cover modifying walls. So let's say you've already created your walls, structural walls that is, and you want to modify them. What can we modify? Well, let's select one of your structural walls. Zoom in and pick the wall on the left. Now when you click on the wall, you'll actually see some symbols for the wall. Right in the middle of the wall are two arrows. This will allow you to flip the orientation of the wall to one side or the other. Specifically, if you have a very detailed wall with material for an inside of the building on one side and material for the exterior of the building on the other side. So if you accidentally drew it oriented wrong, you can flip the wall simply by clicking the icon. To change the length of the wall, you could change dimensions, or I could drag the drag handles on the end of the walls. Now, other information you could change for the wall is in the property area on the left. You could change the wall justification. You could also change the base constraint, any offset values, and the top constraint, which it actually is drawn to. Scrolling down, you have other elements that you could change for the structural elements of the wall itself. Now, you also can pick a different wall type. In the wall dropdown, we're using the basic wall generic 8. Click the dropdown and scroll up in the list to the exterior brick on CMU. Once you select it, you'll notice the wall becomes thicker on your screen. To see the details of this wall, click Edit Type. The Edit Type window appears, and if you do not see the pictorial on the left, click Preview on the bottom and you'll see the pictorial of this wall. Now right now I'm looking at the basic type parameters of the wall. To see the physical structure of what this representation looks like, to the right of Structure, click Edit. This will open up the wall editor, allowing you to see the assembly of this wall with all of the different components that make up the wall. So as you can see, there's different materials and thicknesses for the different elements. Starting on the exterior side, there's brick of a certain thickness, then an air gap, then insulation, then damp proofing membrane. Then you have the core unit. This core unit is also what can be justified by the interior exterior of the core, or the center line of the core. It's basically our block. Then on the other side of that is the metal furring strip and then gypsum wallboard. So you can insert different functions to create additional elements of the wall or delete them. You can also move them up and down. Now the recommendation is, if you want to modify something in the wall, is to duplicate it first, then modify the duplicate. So you always keep the original. Go ahead and click OK. Up in the upper right is the duplicate button that will allow you to duplicate this wall. Click OK. Now, to see more detail of this type of wall, we would want to change our level of detail. So in the view bar on the bottom, click your level of detail and click Fine. When you click Fine, zoom in. You actually can see the wall, how it's currently oriented. Now, if the orientation wasn't correct, click the wall and then click the orientation symbol, and that flips the wall based on the orientation. Now, you also could change the wall justification. For example, maybe I don't want it justified on its center line. I could select the wall, then for location line, change this to maybe, let's say, finish face exterior. Now the wall is referenced on the points we pick by its exterior, and all of the lines are drawn in. Useful especially if you are doing field measurements for existing structures and you measure the outside perimeter of the building. Therefore, you can justify this wall type based on those points. Simply click in the background to deselect. So as a review, in this lesson we looked at modifying walls. We selected a wall and was able to see we could change the orientation of the wall or change the length by moving the drag handles. We also looked at the properties of the wall, being able to change the location line, how it's justified, also the top and bottom constraints. You also can add an offset. In the property area, you can also select a different wall type. Then we looked at a wall type. We edited a wall type that had multiple elements in the wall and viewed the structure of the wall and how it was assembled together. We also looked at duplicating a wall type if we need to make a modification. And lastly, we placed in a new wall type that actually had multiple elements, and we flipped the wall orientation and changed its justification.